Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 20th of June. Starting with the euro dollar, and well, yesterday, bit of a bearish sort of day in lots of respects. It didn't break the absolute lows yesterday. It did of the bodies there, but it didn't catch down to the absolute lows. Saw quite a bounce from that, which it's held up relatively well up until now. Now, starting to look at this, and lots of debate because there's obviously certain patterns going on there. There's this big pattern here of the bear flag, and then there's a smaller bear flag on the 4-hourlies, and we're sort of looking at the potential that, of course, that could see a rollover. It does conflict with what some of the bigger money's doing in terms of money's running into the euro that we saw from last week's COT analysis. Now, whether that's going to hold on, it's often quite slow money, so we'll see. But it is looking weak. What we're seeing here, come down to the 4-hourlies, and there's the bear flag, and it's broken that, come up, tested the underside of that. Now we could be selling off. Well, we started selling off, and it's whether or not we continue this move down. Let's go down to the hourly here. And if we continue this move down, if we start selling off this morning post 8 o'clock, well, you've got to be looking really initially, and it's not many points away at those body lows there. I would have suggested on the 60 minutes it's about 15.46. It could just find another sort of bit of area of support around that level. If it starts breaking down, then the daily S1 looks like a reasonable target at the moment. To the other side of that argument, and looking at towards the long side, if we're going to see more of a bounce from where we are, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be a bullish euro. I just think that the euro, looking at the dailies here, it could just get a bit range bound. Certainly potential for it, but if it does break above this 60-50 here, well, it could be a bullish play back towards the previous days. The R1s there, and maybe eventually, if we were to get any trend in this week, maybe get to the weekly pivot, but it's looking less likely at the moment. Okay, so there's euro. In general, relatively bearish, but with some possible bounce. The pound, on the other hand, it's well, yesterday it broke it broke down those recent lows there. It's struggling. Brexit's weighing it down somewhat. It is consolidating. It didn't really get much of a bounce from yesterday, whereas the other markets were moving up a bit more, retracing. We just really saw a very shallow retrace, and again, it looks like, well, almost more so here. It looks like we could be running to the downside. If it comes back towards this 60-minute 21 here, if it breaks that, well, daily pivot seems a reasonable odds. Maybe even a push through towards the 60-minute 50, maybe more, but as I say, there's more risk with the pound at the moment, and of course we've got the meeting tomorrow, so that may just weigh heavily on it. So my preference is on the downside with it, but I do need retracements to sell in. Generally, dollar yen. And the dollar yen's got choppy here from a daily perspective. It's last week it looked like it was going to continue pushing through, towards the previous highs there. It's slowed up here. There is this risk on, risk off situation, and as soon as risk gets off, the money starts running back into the yen, which spoils the normal technical picture. It's still got the potential to push up higher. Yesterday, well, there at midnight yesterday, it sold off so strongly, but with the risk factor. But since then, it's been pushing up, and again, looking at as we come down the smaller time frames, if it can hang on to these gains this morning, maybe we'll see it run up towards the R1, and maybe even more back towards that monthly R1. But it's certainly in a half decent upward trend at the moment, but as I said, I think there's a lot of risk in trading it. Aussie dollar, oops, come back a bit too far on that. So the Aussie dollar seeing a bit of a bounce this morning. Should have been some data out this morning. It's not. That's this afternoon. No data out this morning for the Aussie. It's got the potential to kick back at some point. It's may been taking a bit more of a hammering than some of the other pairings, but probably for good reason. This 4 hour is sort of bear flag territory, so again a bit like the euro in that respect, got the potential to roll over potentially, but as it's sitting at the moment, it looks like it's still in this sort of near-term upward trend, which could see it pushing through towards its daily L1. It's not the best, as I say so often, the intraday trade. It might have some signals on the bigger time frames, which may be showing signs of reversals, but for now it's a stand away from, for me at least. Canadian dollar then. Canadian dollar saw another thrust up yesterday and held up. From a 4 hour perspective, we're now sitting there consolidating around these highs here. It looks like at some point it could just carry on pushing through. You see how many hours though it's just sat there at that level. We've got an untouched daily pivot today. Just watch, that might give us sort of might draw price back down towards that. We have been seeing oil soften somewhat, but it's just coming to yesterday's. Well, I say yesterday's, just bring it to an hourly picture. It's picked up again through the Asian session here. It would appear that Iran is not going to agree to any price cuts in oil, or sorry, price cuts, any production cut. Ugh, so I'll rephrase that. They're not going to increase any price increases, not in cuts. They do not want to increase the volumes. They want to keep the price high, so they're not for it. But so it doesn't look like the OPEC meeting would be particularly good this Friday, but we'll see as we push on there. But I think other members will vote through for an increase in oil production. So oil, as I say, holding its own at the moment there, but got the potential to sell off at some point as well. Just an add-on for the day. So other news today, and news coming out today at 2:30 p.m. We've got nothing up until then. Oh, sorry, we've got the current account in the US at 1:30. Is never really creates any volatility there. Then we've got at 2:30. We've got the forum in Portugal continuing, and there's a panel discussion with Reserve Bank of Australia Governor, the ECB President, Bank of Japan, Fed Chair Powell. Hey, where's our man? Oh, he's missing. Okay, they've not been invited. So yep, there's 4 speakers there of sort of 4 key central banks, which may create some volatility at 2:30. I think it's we saw a little bit of volatility when Draghi addressed yesterday, but it wasn't major, and well, we may just see a little bit coming from when any of those 4 are talking. So that's at 2:30 this afternoon. Existing home sales, nope. Crude oil inventories at 3:30. For oil prices, they may just give us a little bit of a kicker there. And that's pretty much it for the day. Have a great one. I'll be back in the morning. Bye for now.